Hello and welcome to yet another exciting edition of Shop Talk. Ta-da! Okay. All right. Today we're going to talk about working alongside your spouse. And the reason I bring this up is I talk to a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys do have wives and girlfriends and things like that that you're very similar to me in what you do in everyday life. I want to explain a little bit about what's happened in our lifetime and how we've kind of adapted around things. Early on, especially when times are tough, you will notice that when there's money problems in your life, you fight with your spouse. You fight. That is the number one reason people fight, I believe, is because of shortage of money. Because it adds so much stress to your life that, it's almost unbearable at times. The wife's upset because there's not enough money coming in and she doesn't know how she's going to pay the bills, so this is constantly on her mind. Well, what happens because of that? Okay. First off, she doesn't put out because, she's upset. Go figure, a woman upset, I know. But she doesn't do that. She doesn't want to help cook clean. She's always miserable. She snaps at you all the time. These are issues. You can avoid those issues. You can make life a lot better. These are some things to do, okay? But fighting a lot with money issues, they're always going to be there. If you love each other, you better stick it out. You better find a way to make that work. Know that you're going to have problems like this. They're not always going to be peaches and cream. Everything isn't always going to be perfect and special and wonderful all the time. That's just impossible, I can wake up every morning thinking I'm Mr. Wonderful and I feel great, and all of a sudden I come downstairs and she's just a complete bitch. And to try and figure out why, good luck, It's tough. It truly is. At the same time, I've been told, I don't know that I believe this, but this is what I've been told, that I'm kind of the same way, I guess. That I can be cranky and I just snap for no reason. And even though I always have a reason, but they tell me it's for no reason, whatever. So anyway, it can happen with both of you. But by far, money's a huge thing. So this is one of the reasons I try to help people and I try to do these videos is to help you guys so that you make more money, so that you do have a better life. You could eat better. You could eat, ham sandwiches instead of bologna sandwiches, things like that. I mean, when I look around me in my town, this is completely off the subject, but I got to tell you something. I have noticed, and I don't know if you guys have or not, if you're from a small town like I am, but I've noticed it seems like the rich kids, when I was growing up, the rich kids always have such a great complexion. They, of course, drive a beautiful car. They have the best clothes. They just look healthy. They look very healthy. I mean, and us kids, when we grew up on a farm, we were dairy farming kids, and half the time we smelt like barn. And because we'd get up at 4:30 in the morning, go out to the barn, milk cows. We'd have to be in the house by 7:15 because at 7:30 the bus came. So you had to rush in there. Mom would choke a piece of toast in your mouth before she pushed you out the door to get on the bus, because if you missed the bus, you got your ass beat by your dad. So, I mean, there were consequences for missing the bus. You just don't do that stuff. But the point was, it seemed like we never went without food. We always had food. But it just seemed to me like the rich people seemed to just, I don't know, I suppose they ate better than we did, weren't eating bologna all the time, probably didn't have the health issues that we do, put on the weight that we do, because they're eating lean, mean sandwich meat, and we're eating this lousy-ass bologna shit, To this day, I still eat bologna, but I love bologna, so I kind of got used to it, But I know it isn't good for you. I know that, But I go to the gym and everything else now to try and compensate for that, and this stupid thing, which is awesome. You see that thing. This is one of those e-cigarettes, but again, I'm off topic, but just to tell you guys real quick, I'll do a video about this coming up, but I'm using this thing to quit smoking. It's been almost 2 months since I had a cigarette, but so this thing does work. So anyway, but again, I'm off topic. You guys need to stop asking me questions so I can stay on topic. Get it? Get it? Yeah, never mind. Okay, so anyway, all right, I got to move on to this thing. Communication is key. When you're working with your spouse, it took Dawn and I, my wife, just a lot of years to before we understood each other, before I realized I don't want to live without her. I love her. She's my second half. She helps me with everything. She was such a wonderful mother to my kids, and she was good to me in times when I didn't know it. There were times, especially with the landscaping, where we did a lot of commercial work, and the more we did of that, the more I was on the road and I was gone all the time. And, we drifted apart. And when I did come back home, there'd be a stack of stuff this thick that I have to deal with. And, call these people back, do this, do that, insurance claims, this, that, and there's always something, And all I wanted to do was come home for a day or two and rest and relax and maybe see my kids and then get back on the road Monday morning. Well, I couldn't do that because Dawn had a list this big, so I would get pissed off about that. And at the same time, she was angry with me because she wasn't seeing me, and she felt like she's dealing with all the world's problems, even though I was gone for a week or two at a time, and I'm trying to make us money to solve a lot of the problem, but I'm not there with her taking care of the problems, okay? So I saw her frustration. She saw mine, but we didn't see it at the time. I was all about me. She was about herself. She felt she was alone doing everything. I felt I'm alone doing everything. And this is where we needed to communicate better. So when I tell you that, sit your wife down and explain to her, say, honey, I'm out there busting my ass all day. When I come home, is it too much to ask to crack a beer, sit down and play with my dogs for 5 minutes before you jam all that paperwork down my throat? Can I just have those few minutes? I promise I'll take care of everything else. Just give them to me. I'm trying to communicate with you. Okay, so do that with her. And the same is true for her. She needs to do that too. I think a lot of times, I know I'm looking at this from a man's point of view. I know I am because obviously I'm a man, but here's the thing. I feel too that when you're out busting your ass all day and you just get in out of the truck and you can barely straighten your back up, because you just rode for 3 hours to get home, and you come in the house, you can't wait to see your wife, and she's just a bitching. She's just just on and on and on and on and on. It's almost gets your head spinning. You don't even know what to do anymore, But listen to that stuff. So I've had to communicate with her, and it took us years to do this. So I'm trying to give you guys a speed and a step up on that to get you through it now so you don't go through all the crap that we went through. I mean, we almost got divorced several times because we were so stressed out. I mean, if I had any hair to pull out, I would have ripped it out because there's no room for error there, So anyway, if you communicate with your wife, things are going to go a lot better. That's the bottom line. Let's see, what else? It's very chaotic for us even today because now we run two businesses, one in Wisconsin, one down in Florida. So half the time I'm on a plane going down to Florida to deal with stuff. Or if we get down in Florida and if things go wrong in Wisconsin, then I got to come back to Wisconsin. So flying back here or driving or whatever we're doing, I mean, it's a 2-day drive. And, it's like, geez, there's a lot of stress that goes along with running those things. Plus you have 3 kids and they're having kids now too. I just got my first grandbaby the other day. There's a lot of things that you don't want to miss and you want to be part of, so it's chaotic. So, but now we really treat each other better now. And even with the added stress, if we'd had 2 businesses years ago, we would be divorced because there's no way we could have handled it. But now because we talk and communicate with each other, it's way, way better. Okay, way better. So anyway, we just make time for each other now. Okay, we just do that. We just find that we have to do that or we're just going to kill each other, So life's a lot better. Everybody has their own strengths and their own weaknesses, My wife, she's just absolutely wonderful. When I stopped long enough to realize all the things that she was doing here, and then I stopped to realize, sometimes you look at it like, that's not that big of a deal. She isn't doing that much. Just because she's not out throwing brick, or shoveling ditches doesn't mean that she's not working hard, because I've tried to do her work. I've tried to go on that computer and keep track of all the things she does. I don't have a freaking clue what I'm doing on there half the time. I mean, she's got a system for everything. And that takes time. It takes a lot of time. I used to get on her because it took her so long in the office. I thought when I came home at night, hey, it's snuggle time. It's time let's crack a beer. Let's sit on the couch, talk about our day, yada, yada, yada. But then she's still up in the office till 11 midnight, And that pissed me off. And I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm done. If you're going to do that, I'm going to go to the bar. So I was being childish and I would go off to the bar. Well, she was just doing the work. She was up there working, still till midnight. Why didn't I see that? But instead, it became about me instead of her. So I would go off to the bar and make matters worse. And that would just piss her off all the more. So, these are the things I'm talking about. Things that you got to think of their point of view too once in a while. So it's important, guys. It really is, especially if you love them. Yeah, I know women are a dime a dozen, but so are you. I mean, believe me, there's guys out there that I'm sure that would treat my wife better than I treat her. It's hard to believe that there's anybody as good looking as me, but whatever. Just kidding, of course, but the point of the whole thing is you got to look at it from their point of view sometimes too. As much as you don't want to, you try and do their job once in a while. It's not the easiest thing in the world. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Let's see what else. You have a happy wife, you have a happy life. That's just the way things go most of the time, But you got to keep them happy. I don't know why they got to have 37 pairs of shoes all the time. And every year you take a bag of clothes to Goodwill because they don't fit anymore or they're the wrong color or whatever. God only knows. I know I'm making this up. She's going to get mad at me for saying that. But, that's the way it seems sometimes. A pissed off wife, when you get that, it's like living in Alcatraz. Who wants that? I don't want that. I hate that, If it's something I did to piss her off, I get it. I'll try and work through it. But if this is where my problem comes in, if I didn't do anything to piss her off to begin with, and she's still pissed, and she wants to take it out on me, you guys got to realize this too. I can be pissed. I was pissed off the other day when the Packers lost the championship game. We were that close to going to the Super Bowl the other day, and I was just livid about it, and my wife just takes it in stride, and she's like, it's going to be okay. Well, to us, the Packers in Wisconsin, we all eat, breathe, and shit Green Bay Packers. So it's really important for us. We're big into our football stuff, and, a lot more than a lot of other teams I know. And people think we're crazy sometimes the way we think about these things. But I get so upset about it, but she just calms you right down. She just puts things back into perspective. It's not going to change my life if Green Bay doesn't make it there, I mean, I was actually hanging out in Wisconsin waiting. She wanted to get down to Florida, and I'm like, hey, I'm not leaving while my Packers are winning, and if we go to the Super Bowl, I'm damn sure going to be in Wisconsin when that happens. And but instead, they lost, and now I got to go to Florida, so I'll be leaving in a week or so. And how do I get off on these tangents? I don't know. Men, take time to listen. Listen to what they say. If you take the time to listen, if you become a better listener, that's not just with your wife, that's with your kids, it's with everybody. You'll be a better person for it. And they will understand you better too, and they're more open up to you and your suggestions because you're a listener. You listen and you can communicate. You can't communicate with them if you're constantly going, This is how our conversations would go every day. I would get downstairs, come down for a cup of coffee in the morning before I got to take off, and she'd be just rattling away like always. And I'm like, I get nowhere. And she realized that after a while. She's like, you're not even listening to me. And I'm like, So you got to communicate. You got to listen. Be a good listener. And if you do that, you're going to have a lot happier life. Okay? Help out with the chores. Women, it's the same. This isn't just for the guys out there, because you women should do the same thing. You should be listening to us. If we come in and we need to vent to someone, this was my wife's famous saying. She would always say to me, well, it's not that I'm mad at you, I'm just venting. And I'm like, well, why do you always vent to me? Why is it every time I come home, you're on fire? Okay? And I got to be the fire extinguisher every time I walk in the door, And basically it boils down to she loves me. And so she shares all this stuff with me. She is venting because she's upset about it and she has no one else to talk to about it. I mean, we're like best friends. So of course she wants to tell me these things, So now I don't feel so bad when I come home bitching about the day that I've had because the workers are, God, I'm going to kill that Johnny. I'm just going to get rid of his ass. I'm tired of him being dumb as a stump and he ran over this or he broke that. She doesn't need to hear all that stuff. She's had enough problems going on in her day, but I don't feel so bad about venting about it now because I listened to her. See, I was a good listener. Therefore, it buys me the opportunity to do a little bitching myself. Ta-da! There you go. A little gift from me to you guys. Now, help with the chores around the house. This is another big thing. I got a friend of mine who doesn't do jack shit around his house. He does nothing. He makes the woman do everything. She does the cooking, the cleaning, the dishes, laundry, everything. In my house, my wife and I share everything, okay? I am not above whatsoever getting up in the morning, taking care of the dishes from the night before, putting them in the dishwasher, cleaning up the kitchen, come home at night, a lot of nights. I'll come home dead tired, but still, I can see the vacuuming needs to be done. We have 3 German Shepherds, so we got to vacuum like every freaking day. But you can see that, stuff needs to be done. So we pitch in. We pitch in together. The laundry's got to be done. That's piling up. We get on this stuff. Don't be afraid to do those things. Don't think that the woman was made just to do that shit for you because they weren't. They weren't. You're a team now. You're a team today, and you should be working as a team to get where you need to go or where you want to go. Okay? So work together. That's what I'm telling you. Just work together. The bottom line, you guys, if you really think about it, I've seen a lot of people that when their spouse dies, it's not long and they end up dying. And a lot of times, how many times have you heard people die of a broken heart? You know, I've thought about this. My wife was sick. She's still sick. She's been sick for many, many years, but that's neither here nor there. I've often thought what I would do without her and how horrible it would be if I had to come home every night and I couldn't talk to her about everything that went on in my day, you know. You only have so many days, you guys. That's the same with your kids. We all have so many days on this earth, and we don't know when we're going to go. Don't fight with them. Take the time, listen to each other, enjoy each other, love each other. You'll have a lot better life together. You'll grow your business faster because you're working together instead of pulling apart. Okay? That's my advice to you. Hope it's worth something to you. Leave me your comments down below. As always, it's been another exciting adventure of Shop Talk. Ta-da!